Hello everyone and welcome to another wrestling tier list. We got the WWE Monday Night Raw roster. I did a tier list recently for the SmackDown roster, so if you want to go check that out first, then yeah, you can do that. But let's get right into it. We got Akira Tozawa. We got our tiers here. Main eventers, upper mid card, somewhere in between lower mid card and directionless. In my head at first I was gonna put him directionless, but recently on Monday Night Raw he was there with Xavier Woods talking to Rhea Ripley and Dom Dom. He seems like he's gonna just be that little funny guy again. Hopefully the damage hasn't been done too much because of Vincent Kennedy McMahon turning him into a freaking ninja, and that was great, wasn't it? That was just awesome. But I'm gonna put him in lower mid card. I think Triple H will be, hey, you're talented, you can be funny, but also not be a total waste of time. So there you go, lower mid card for Akira Tozawa. And now I have Los Lotharios. I would put them directionless because I don't think they have a direction, period. They're just there to probably feed other tag teams momentum. So that could give them a spot in lower mid card. But since their only characteristic as a tag team is, oh, we're pretty, aren't we? Hee hee hee. Los Lotharios, they're going in directionless. Now we have Apollo. We're gonna put him. Now, I think he could be upper mid card. Will he get there? Maybe. But for now, he's going to go somewhere in between. He has the look, and, he's just a likable guy. I think he can be upper mid-card, but, it's really hard to tell. I think there's more priority for some other guys right now. But eventually, if he's built up right, I think Apollo sure as hell can be upper mid-card. Now we have the man, Becky Lynch, just came back to Monday Night Raw to continue her feud with Trish Stratus. Definitely main eventer. She's main evented WrestleMania. She's not going anywhere. Right now, she's not heavily in the title picture, and I don't know if she will be. Since her and Rhea Ripley are now on the same brand, that match is just a given at this point for maybe like SummerSlam or Survivor Series or whatever they decide to do. But main eventer, even though she's not in a main event women's storyline right now. Even though the one with Trish she's doing is pretty big, so you gotta give her credit. Now we have the tag team of Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Let's start off with Braun Strowman. 2017-2018, super momentum filled. This man could have beaten Brock Lesnar. He had several tries, but couldn't do it and lost all steam and became a man that has a choo-choo train play in the background as he runs people over on the outside, which is all fun until it's done 500 times. After being released and coming back, he hasn't done too much. He's obviously formed this tag team with Ricochet because he does not like the flippy guys, so pair him up with the flippy guy and that'll teach him. I'm not the biggest fan of Braun Strowman, but definitely, he's not going to go lower mid-card, I don't think. I think he'll be a title contender. And as for his partner Ricochet, I'm way more of a fan of Ricochet than Braun Strowman. Ricochet, another person who's kind of lost momentum, but since teaming with Strowman, they've been a fun tag team, I'll give them that. I'm going to hold out some hope. I'm thinking, Ricochet, I'm going to put that sucker in upper mid-card. After the tag team with Braun Strowman's over, if Strowman were to, turn heel, I hope Ricochet beats Strowman, because that'll just catapult him. A big win over a big man. Ricochet, obviously not the best talker, but I truly believe he's one of the best wrestlers on the roster. If you can utilize that, just put him upper mid-card, have him be a contender for that new World Heavyweight Championship. He'll put on some great matches. He's a likable dude, just like Apollo, but I think Ricochet probably has more going for him. Now we have Bronson Reed. He wasn't doing too much when he first got back to WWE, but recently he's been in some important stories. United States Championship match at Backlash. He's being built up as this monster guy, like the tsunami finisher, the dive off the top rope. They're keeping that protected. Nobody's kicking out of that. I think he's headed in the right direction. He could be upper mid-card by the end of the year if the cards are played right. But I think for now, I'm going to put him top of somewhere in between. Somewhere in between usually is just the guys that have potential, but I'm not sure when they'll get to the upper mid-card, if that makes any sense. And now we have Candace Rae. It is official that the Way are getting back together based on that backstage segment. One of the best women's wrestlers on their roster right now, just hasn't had the chance to show it. I would like to see her challenge Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm not going to lie. I think they would put on a great match. You tell a great story with the tiny underdog versus the giant heel. I'm going to put her somewhere in between. I think she'll form a tag team with Indy Hartwell since, the Way is getting back together. But for now, I don't see her going towards that upper mid card. I would like to see it happen. She might have a one-off title match with Rhea and then just go back to the, somewhere in between section. But I hope the best for Candace Rae. I hope she gets to show what she has to offer. And now we have Alpha Academy, one of my favorite tag teams in WWE right now. I don't know where they're going with this Maximum Male Model story. It is kind of entertaining. I like seeing Otis be a goofball once again. Chad Gable has what it takes to be main eventer upper mid card. Believe me. Will he get there? I don't know about main eventer. I'm gonna pull a Ricochet here. I'm gonna hold out hope. Chad Gable. Even though I like him and Otis as a tag team, whenever that tag team is over, just like Ricochet, I hope he gets the chance to just, prove himself. He's a freaking match machine. He could put on bangers with everybody. As for Otis, I don't think he'll go to upper mid-card. He'll probably chill maybe lower mid-card, but I think if he does leave Alpha Academy to join the Maximum Male Models, it'll make for some very entertaining television, very funny moments. But I do think Gable does have more potential than Otis, so just because I'm not sure what they'll do with him exactly, I'm going to put him somewhere in between. But I can see him dropping the lower mid-card before the year's up if they do split the tag team. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, their chemistry is off the charts. I want them to beat Liv and Raquel or Damage Control, whoever's the women's tag team champions. They're just like the perfect mean girl tag team. Will they go higher than the tag division or even challenge for the women's championship? Maybe, but for now I'm putting Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville and somewhere in between. They're both talented to do their own solo stuff. Even though they don't feel like a thrown together tag team. It works great. Give him the tag titles. Cody Rhodes. Main eventer, for sure. He's having that big feud with Brock Lesnar right now. They're going to have another match at Night of Champions. I hope they add a stipulation to it. Maybe, you know, a steel cage, last man standing, just some kind of thing where they can fight. Cody is eventually going to finish the story whenever that may be. I'm hoping SummerSlam. I don't want to wait a whole year for him to win the title. Please just get it over with now. The Bloodline stuff is getting kind of boring, but Cody, him and Seth are the two main guys of Monday Night Raw, you can argue. But yeah, that's all there is to say about Cody. Main eventer, he's probably going to stay that way. Next up is Dana Brooke. Give Dana Brooke a chance is the little thing going around on Twitter. Some people are bringing signs to Raw that say that. And good for the fans getting behind Dana Brooke. I think she is somewhat underrated. She's put in the work, you can't deny that, since her NXT days to like currently. They just don't have anything for her, like, half the time. I would put her directionless for now, but she had a match against Rhea Ripley on Raw. They could build this, like, underdog babyface storyline with her trying to prove herself week after week. And with that, I'd say that can get her as far as somewhere in between. I don't think she'll go higher than that. But I'm going to put her directionless for now, even though I think she could go to lower mid-card before the year's up. Next up is Dexter Loomis, and I like Dexter Loomis, but realistically, I don't see him going higher than somewhere in between. The way, like I mentioned with Candace, are getting back together. He's more of just like the odd man out. I don't think he's going to team with Gargano as much once Ciampa returns. I think he'll be a very important and funny part of that whole Way storyline. But he's not going to be challenging for any titles unless it's the Intercontinental title. And let's face it, he's not going to take the Intercontinental title away from Gunther. So in the whole Way bubble, he's definitely somewhere in between. But as a whole, he's probably going to stay in that lower mid-card area. But he'll be used quite a bit for sure. Drew McIntyre is next, and there are reports that he's not happy with WWE. There's been reports going around for a while that he's going to leave because of money and creative and yada yada, which I kind of feel bad. I was hoping he would be in that World Heavyweight Championship tournament and then have a nice monster heel turn to kind of, you know, give him a boost. But if it is the case that he is just probably going to leave, I don't think they'll use him. I'm hoping if he does leave, they just give him one cool storyline to go off with. But let's just say hypothetically he doesn't leave. He's upper mid-card guy for sure, especially if he were to turn heel. But Drew McIntyre's future is kind of uncertain right now, so I'm just going to leave him upper mid-card if we're pretending that everything's fine and he's not leaving anytime soon. Now we have Emma, the most clear-cut directionless person on the roster. She's returned. I'm a big fan of Emma. She just hasn't done much. I think she's been a part of like a mixture of tag teams. I think with like Xia Li, Tegan Knox. You know, she's there with Riddick Moss, which I don't really like Riddick Moss. I'm going to be real. He's super bland. But until they find something, Emma's going to stay in directionless. I liked her and Dana Brooke as a tag team in NXT and then on SmackDown in like 2016 around that time. So if they put them two together again, I could see them going up to, you know, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville's level or lower mid-card. But if they're separated and doing their own thing, I don't think it's going to gain any like traction. So Emma is going to go in directionless. Now we have the Judgment Day. Let's start off, let's start with Damian Priest. Had that great match with Bad Bunny. I think they have a lot of faith in him since he was able to do that with Bad Bunny and protect them throughout the match and just have the match in general. He was also in one of the triple threat matches for that World Heavyweight Championship, tournament thing. So that means they do, picture him in a higher spot. Not right now, unless the momentum continues somewhere in between. But if he does continue being in like prominent stories, I can see him being upper mid card. You know what? I think they're going to treat him as one of the next potential world champions, or at least a contender for it. Yeah, Damian Priest upper mid card. Next up we got Dom. He's getting booed out the building almost weekly. And while I think he's funny and the whole Rhea Ripley, mommy Dom stuff is kind of funny at times, I still haven't seen much of Dominic that makes me believe he'll go upper mid card. He'll definitely challenge for the Intercontinental title hell, even win it once it's off Gunter. But for right now, I just don't think he's going higher than somewhere in between. Now, Finn Balor faced Rollins in a losing effort for that World Heavyweight Championship tournament. He's going to be upper mid-card. I don't think he's going to drop anytime soon. I was on the side of Judgment Day are kind of holding down Finn Balor, but each of them are kind of stepping into their own. You know, Rhea Ripley being a dominant women's champion, Damian Priest being a badass that can like just throw guys around, Dominic getting all them damn boos. You know, he's getting a big reaction. So maybe the Judgment Day isn't all that bad. I know it was definitely rocky at the start, but yeah, Finn Balor, upper mid-card for sure. I think he could win that World Championship someday, just not anytime soon. I think if a Judgment Day split were to happen, that's Balor's time to go for the World Championship. Now we have Rhea Ripley, main eventer for sure. I mentioned the Becky Lynch title match they can do later on in the year. No doubt in my mind they'll do that if, you know, Rhea is still champion, which I hope she holds that belt at least until Mania next year. I want Rhea Ripley to have a long, dominant run with that title. Rhea Ripley, main eventer for sure. Now we have Imperium Gunter. Even though he has like the mid-card title, he is definitely main event status. You already know he's an unbeatable machine. If he were to drop the title sometime before Mania next year, I can see him being the one to challenge Roman. I doubt it'll happen, but if anyone can beat Roman, Gunter is at the top of that list. But I think he's going to hold on to the Intercontinental Championship, probably break Honky Tonk Man's record. And as for the rest of Imperium, Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser, upper mid-card tag team for sure. In their debut match since switching to Raw, they faced Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, the tag team champions. So if that doesn't tell you like how much of a prominent role they want to put this tag team in, then I don't know what to tell you. I think they're an upper mid-card tag team for sure, and as long as they're by Gunter's side, they're going to be featured quite heavily. Indy Hartwell is next, and I mentioned I think she'll form a tag team with Candace Rae. I would like to see it. They were NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. They work great together. It gives Indy Hartwell more like experience and like, you know, like a learning tree type situation. I think Candice LeRae really helped her out in her early NXT days. So continue that on the main roster. As a solos act, I don't know if she'll go towards upper mid card. Probably not yet, but she's still kind of a new face in WWE. So give her some time and we'll just have to see what happens, but definitely somewhere in between for sure. Next up is JD McDonough, and I really don't have a clue what they're going to do with him. I think he puts on great matches every time he steps into the ring. Will he be challenging for the World Championship anytime soon? No. Will he be challenging Gunter anytime soon? Possibly. I could definitely see him somewhere in between, but since I'm not all that sure, I'm gonna put him lower mid-card just for maybe the beginning of his Raw run. Maybe like by the end of the year he'll reach somewhere in between, but I'm just not really sure what they're gonna do with him. Now we have Indus Sher, we got Jinder Mahal, Sangha, and once again coming on Monday Night Raw, we got Veer Mahan. Welcome back, buddy. They had a little video package for Indus Sher, and they're gonna probably try to treat him like a dangerous trio at first. But if I'm being honest, I don't think the fans are going to get behind him. But I'm going to put each of them lower mid-card. I think they'll try to do something with them. I would like to have high hopes. I don't want anyone to ever, like, you know, sink lower in the card. But I just don't think their little trio is going to work out. That's me. I know, like, as of right now, I don't care about them. So unless they do something huge when they actually show up on Raw, then maybe we can discuss somewhere in between. But for now, lower mid-card for Indus Sher. Now we have Johnny Gargano. I think, obviously, he could be upper mid-card. When Ciampa comes back, they'll do him trying to fit in with the Way, maybe. I don't know. But as a singles act, you saw what he could do in NXT. He's amazing. Heart and soul. He can get a group of people behind him and they'll cheer his ass on for days on end. But it really just depends on what they do. I think as long as he's doing stuff with the Way, he might not reach upper mid-card unless they feature the Way like heavily on Raw every week. But I'm going to hold out some hope. I'm thinking Johnny Gargano can reach upper mid-card. If not, he'll definitely have some fun stories with the Way, some fun matches along the way, no pun intended as well. We just gotta see what happens really, but I hope Johnny Gargano is an upper mid-card guy for sure. Now you have Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Them plus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville are the two tag teams I want to see be women's tag team champions before the year is up. Like Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, their chemistry is off the charts. Carter and Chance are freaking crazy in the ring. They're so much fun. I love them. They're probably my favorite women's tag team in WWE right now. I hope they're one of the more prominently featured women's tag teams. Speaking of tag teams, we got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I'm going to put them as single stars since I don't think their tag team is going to last forever. But both of them, regardless, are going to the upper mid-card. We've seen what happens when Sami can get a lot of fire underneath him. He can be a challenger and, hell, even win the World Heavyweight Championship. Kevin Owens has been Universal Champion. He could be a main event guy. He's had huge matches throughout his career, especially with Roman Reigns. So you know both of these guys could be upper mid-card status. both those guys could be main eventers, but as a tag team, they'll stay in the upper mid card. They might main event a few Raws here and there. But yeah, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay featured on Monday Night Raw. Now we have the New Day. Kofi Kingston currently injured, so I don't know what they're going to do when he comes back. So we're just going to put him somewhere in between because I don't think Kofi or the New Day, like any member for that matter, could slip the lower mid card. So Kofi's going somewhere in between. As for Xavier Woods, I hope they give him stuff to do while he's waiting for Kofi to come back. Kofi Kingston and Big E have had their moment, so I hope Xavier Woods gets his singles moment as well. I think this is their chance while he's waiting for Kofi to come back to just give him some important matches. Even if he loses them, just show that he can go. But I'm going to put him in somewhere in between with Kofi Kingston. I think if Big E comes back, if they reform the New Day as like a full trio once again, they can go upper mid-card for sure. But right now, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, somewhere in between. Now we got Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, the current women's tag team champions. You know, the women's tag team titles, they're never going upper mid-card. They're not anything special. I hate to break it to you. They should just scrap the belts, but now that they got more women's tag teams, I can see them keeping the belts around a little longer, obviously. Liv Morgan has been women's champion before, had that whole thing with Ronda Rousey. I don't think she'll reach upper mid-card again, at least for right now. Maybe next year, I don't know. But somewhere in between for Liv Morgan. As for Raquel Rodriguez, she was kind of lower mid-card, women's division-wise, but now being in a tag team with Liv, I think they'll feature her more often since, you know, she's been on TV more. I can see Raquel Rodriguez going on to challenge Rhea Ripley after they lose the tag titles. If Raquel turns heel on Liv, I can see them doing a monster heel run with her. So maybe I'm going to take a shot in the dark, and I'm going to say monster heel run after the tag team's over. Raquel's going upper mid-card. If not, somewhere in between. She's okay. Now we have Maximum Male Models. We got Maxine Dupree. I have not seen her wrestle. I don't think she will anytime soon, unless it's just like a one-off like mixed tag. So I'll just put her wherever I put Massey and Mansois. I don't think they're gonna even reach somewhere in between. They're funny. Maybe if they get enough like momentum behind them and more stories to tell on Monday Night Raw, yeah. But for right now, I think they're a lower mid-card act. They are really fun. Like I was saying with Otis, that whole story is fun. It has its moments. But after that, I don't know where they go. So lower mid-card for now. They are entertaining enough to go somewhere in between and even challenge for the tag titles. Nothing but the best for Mansois, Massey, and Maxine Dupree. Now we have the original bro, Matt Riddle. I've never been the biggest fan of Matt Riddle, but I do think he'll always stay in that somewhere in between slot. I can probably see him challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental title. I think they'll put on a fun match. Will Riddle win? No. But I think they could put on a fun match together. Other than that, you know, I don't think Riddle's going to be going for that world title, at least anytime soon. So somewhere in between seems like a good spot for him. Now we have Natalya. She came out on Monday Night Raw, and I think she's going to be Rhea Ripley's next challenger, which I'm fine with that. You know, Natalya's reliable. She's basically a veteran at this point for the women's division. Somewhere in between, I can see her dropping lower mid-card from time to time, but they can put her in whatever story they want. I don't think she'll win the women's championship anytime soon. Maybe she might win it one more time before she hangs up the boots, but for now, low somewhere in between. You know what? After this feud with Rhea Ripley, I don't know what she's gonna do. So I'll put her at the top of lower mid-card because they can call her to do an important match whenever they need her to. But other than that, she'll probably just have some like, you know, minor stories with like, you know, Emma or something like that. I don't know. Now we have Nikki Cross. If they go back to NXT Nikki and they just, you know, make her all wild and crazy and just reckless, she'll be a fun act for the women's division. I can see her challenging Rhea Ripley if her momentum, you know, skyrockets, because right now she's, you know, not doing too much. She lost to Zoe Stark. I know she's doing some stuff outside of wrestling, so I don't know how prominently she'll be featured on TV if she's busy with, you know, her real life stuff. But I'll put Nikki somewhere in between. I think she's going in that direction of crazy Nikki Cross from NXT. I know Eric Young is on the roster. He just hasn't been, like, you know, shown at all. Maybe they have an idea to do a little Sanity reunion. I'm not sure. But I'm hoping for the best for Nikki. I think somewhere in between is a decent spot for her if and only if they continue the crazy, reckless Nikki from NXT path that I think they're going on. I'm not sure, though. Now we have a wild card. We have Odyssey Jones. He didn't do too much in NXT. I don't know if he'll do too much on the main roster. It is gonna be tricky because if he doesn't do well at first, or it takes a lot of time for people to get invested in Odyssey Jones, it's like kind of why did you not leave him in NXT for him to get better type of situation. I feel like it might be a tad too early for Odyssey Jones, but you know, he's a big man. You always need some big meaty men in wrestling to make things a little entertaining in different stories and situations, so it's really tough to say. I think I'm going to put him in lower mid-card. I have no clue what they're going to do with him. Now we have Piper Niven if she's treated seriously, and now that she's no longer Dewdrop, I think she has all the potential in the world to go, you know, for Rhea Ripley. She could be one of the mainstays of the women's division. But Piper Niven is another one of those women's wrestlers that I don't know exactly what they're gonna do with her, but I think I'm gonna hold out some hope. Just like Nikki Cross, I think somewhere in between will be a good fit for her. If not, definitely lower mid-card. She will be used. She'll have matches. She's a good opponent for someone smaller than her. That way, if they get a win, then it's like, oh, that was a huge victory. So Piper Niven could be used to enhance stories or be in important stories herself. But Piper Niven, somewhere in between, I think that's a good spot for her. Riddick Moss is here, and he is just, that's exactly what he is. He's here. I can see him having matches. That's about it. I don't know what else to say. Directionless. Just with, you know, his girl Emma, but wherever Riddick goes, maybe Emma will, like, pair up with him again like they were doing a little bit on SmackDown. I think he'll have some matches here and there. I just don't think he'll have really any, like, story to follow, so directionless, he goes. Now we have Seth freaking Rollins, main eventer for sure. It's basically a given at this point, unless they do a little swerve with someone from SmackDown winning the World Heavyweight Championship. It's basically a given. Rollins is going to be that first World Heavyweight Champion. He deserves it. He's been putting in the work, having a great match at every show they do. There's not much to say about Rollins. He's just, you know, he's great. Main eventer for sure. First World Heavyweight Champion for sure. Moving on to Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. Another tag team where I'm a fan of one, but not the other. Shayna Baszler, she could be upper mid-card. She could challenge Rhea Ripley. Maybe reignite that feud they had in NXT. Shayna Baszler's a badass. Just have her do the thing where she's like breaking everybody's arm. Have her go after Liv Morgan. Maybe attack Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Just add bodies to her little count. And boom, she could be a challenger for the Women's Championship in no time. As for Ronda Rousey, her first year or two on the main roster, it was fun, I guess. You know, like, whoa, she's pretty good for a newcomer. Wow, look at her go. And in recent years, it's just been, oh god, it's Ronda Rousey. Hi, Ronda Rousey. Hey, don't win any titles, please. It just is what it is for Ronda Rousey. That's as best as I can put it. She probably won't drop out of the upper mid-card or somewhere in between because it's, you know, it's Ronda Rousey. I don't want to put her in upper mid-card, though, because I think they need to give other women a chance. We know what Ronda Rousey can do. She's already been established. She isn't that great as an established talent, so maybe keep her out of the title picture. That's all I'm hoping for. But yeah, Shayna Baszler upper mid-card, Ronda Rousey somewhere in between. Shinsuke Nakamura, someone who I think could have gone for that World Heavyweight Championship, if not Seth Rollins, but either way, he could be upper mid-card for sure. Will he be there? I hope. I really hope. He's going into a feud with The Miz, and that's not a good sign, but it's also not a bad sign, because they are giving him something to do. And if Rollins is going to be that first World Heavyweight Champion, you can't have Shinsuke, you know, immediately going after Rollins. You gotta build Shinsuke back up a little bit. He's been off for a while. So it's another one of those situations where I hope they keep him in upper mid-card, but he definitely could drop to lower mid-card or somewhere in between. As much as I hate to say that, I think Shinsuke should be one of those guys until he retires, should stay in the upper mid-card. Hell, have him challenge Gunther. He doesn't even have the win, but if you could just put on a freaking banging match with him, that's good enough for me. Now it's Tegan Knox's turn to go on this list, and I like Tegan Knox, but since she's returned, she has done basically nothing. I'm gonna put her in directionless. I hope they give her something to do, at least lower mid-card, but I have no idea with her. Now we have The Miz, potential to be upper mid-carder. He main evented WrestleMania, two-time Grand Slam champion, you know, the accolades he lists off every single time he's on TV. And, you know, give Miz his flowers. He's been there for, what, 10 years now or so? Longer than 10 years? 15 years, I think? If he was the one to be the first World Heavyweight Champion for Monday Night Raw, I know a lot of people would be like, oh, really? But I honestly would not be mad whatsoever. I'm a big fan of The Miz. Do I think he's great in the ring? Not particularly, but he's a good talker. He always has some fun. I haven't been paying attention to the stuff he's been doing because of that whole Tiny Balls garbage. It's fucking cringe. Stop it. Okay, little rant over. But he could be upper mid-card. Do I think he'll be there? No, I think very top is somewhere in between. They could put him in like a main event every now and then, and I'm sure he'll do fine. But for now, somewhere in between. Trish Stratus. She's having a feud with Becky Lynch, and it's a big important feud for the women's division, but after that feud is over, will she stay? Probably not. But for right now, top of upper mid-card, she's not going to do anything else but that Becky Lynch feud. So, you know, what else can you say? It's an important feud, so you got to put her upper mid-card. I don't think she's going to stay after that feud is done with. If she does, that'll be actually really surprising. And after that, she'll probably go for the Women's Championship if she does stay after the Becky Lynch feud, which, like I said, I doubt. But yeah, upper mid-card for Trish Stratus. Now we got the Viking Raiders. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. NXT War Raiders. amazing, amazing, amazing. They had a little bit of steam when they first debuted. They won the Raw Tag Team Championships, and that's it. Now they're spooky guys who have spooky woman with them. Whoa, Valhalla, oh my god. I think they're trying to go for like a monster tag team, but it just, I don't know, something about it's not working for me. I know they're capable of putting on great tag team matches, so they're probably gonna fall somewhere in between, but as for like character stuff and storyline stuff, I could see them going lower mid-card. But since now everybody's on their own separate brands, the tag team division is going to be a little slim, so maybe they'll be featured more prominently and given like good stuff to do. So I'm going to say bottom of somewhere in between. But if I had my way, and if I was really being like straightforward, I think lower mid-card. But I have a lot of faith in the War Raiders. Just please, I don't know. I don't know. Now we have Xia Li. The women's division could be stacked, but a lot of them are hella directionless, man. Xia Li, I think she had like 3 different stories. She was like the protector. She had the cool entrance. Then wasn't she wearing a hoodie and attacked Tegan Knox or something on SmackDown a few months back, if I'm not mistaken? I know she attacked somebody. She was in a hoodie. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with Xia Li. She has potential to be lower mid-card, but you know, until I actually see what she's doing on Raw, it's gonna be hard to tell. But my prediction is I'm actually a fan of Xia Li. I remember at the 2020 Royal Rumble, I believe she came out, and not very many people like cheered because they weren't sure because she was an NXT girl at the time. But I saw the stuff she was doing in NXT. You know, I cheered. I was at the 2020 Royal Rumble. You know, I'm putting her in lower mid card just for you, Xia Li. I'm hoping you get stuff to do. All the best for you. And now we have Zoe Stark, and here's not a rant, but what I noticed, and other people heard it too. I thought it was just me. I thought my TV volume was low. Her debut match with Nikki Cross. That crowd was silent as hell. I still might be crazy. Maybe they made some noise. I'm just not paying attention. But holy crap, dude. Her and Nikki Cross had like a 5-6 minute match, maybe? Probably 5 minutes. I know it was kind of short, but dude, that crowd was dead. They hit like some strong strikes, some running fast-paced offense toward the end, and the crowd didn't go crazy. She hit her sick-ass finisher. The crowd had no reaction. She won the match. The crowd didn't really have any reaction. Oh my god. I don't know where they were. I think they were in Jacksonville, which the freaking AEW pandemic shows had more cheers than that. What the fuck? Zoe Stark could definitely be upper mid-card. I'm a big fan of Zoe Stark. That's kind of why I'm pissed. If it was any other match, I'd probably be like, oh damn, that crowd's kind of a bummer. But since it was Zoe Stark's debut match, it was important for the crowd to give her a reaction, but they gave her nothing. What were you doing? Okay, that's gonna do it for this video. Sorry it ended on a little angry note, little engy note like that, but there's the tier list. Let me know who you think's gonna be a standout on Monday Night Raw. Who do you think's gonna be like one of Seth Rollins' potential challengers? You know, I'm thinking, Shinsuke, Finn maybe could go for it again. They could run back the Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins feud from like 2016. That'd be cool. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.